Morning, everybody. I hope everyone's looking forward to another action-packed morning. As Greg mentioned, I'm Bobby Dickey, a VP here at Edison. I'm going to take you through some of your perspectives based on what we gathered in the survey and some of the macro observations that we deduced. So before we dive into the survey, here's a quick overview on the Edison portfolio to give you a little context on the population that we polled. First off, thank you to all those that participated. We know that you are now busier than ever, so appreciate you taking the time. We're going to send these materials around so you can take a look at the data closer, and so I'm going to gloss over some of this pretty quickly. But starting over here on the left, not surprising, a heavy concentration of Edison companies in the Mid-Atlantic. On the revenue side, close to a 50-50 split with companies with revenue below 15 million versus above. And then on the employee headcount side, close-ish even distribution between the buckets that we have laid out here. So getting into the results, how is everyone faring? The first graph on the left here related to productivity pre-pandemic. 80% of you said productivity is the same or better, with 71% saying slightly or significantly better. Moving to the middle here, on the collaboration front, almost 80% said collaboration was the same or better, with 50% of you saying collaboration is slightly better or significantly better. However, there's clearly work from home fatigue, with 60% of you saying your organizations are experiencing fatigue. This is up from 40% when we asked the same question back in May. So clearly, there have been some benefits related to productivity and collaboration, but we and our employees are paying for it. One of the questions is, where is this boost in productivity and collaboration coming from? Is it because we are more focused and deliberate with our communication, or is it because we and our employees are working more? Another question that this data provokes is, are we still in the quasi, call it honeymoon phase of work from home related to the results that we've seen in productivity and collaboration, and are these levels really sustainable? So double clicking on fatigue, we asked you guys, where is fatigue most being felt in your org? And not surprising, the answers were really all over the place. It's from top to bottom, leadership on down. It's widespread in every team and every geography. So it just goes to show whether pockets are feeling it now, they will likely feel it in the future. Moving to the office, our circumstances have made us question what is the future of the office, and is a physical office the thing of the past? Starting on the left here, today, most of us and our teams are still not back in the office. 70% of you have no one in the office, and that figure probably has grown in the past week or two, given the recent COVID spike. Moving to the middle here, going forward, when COVID is behind us, hopefully, 87% of you will have some level of flexible work from home policy, including being fully remote. Only 6% said that they will return to their ways pre-pandemic and have everyone back in the office. Lastly, moving to the right here, many of you saw the announcement from Microsoft and some other organizations around instituting a hybrid workplace where they're letting some employees permanently work from home and move anywhere. However, that could result in some level of pay cut. 61% of you said you would not do this. However, about 30% said you'd be open to the idea. So zooming back out, when we all were reviewing these results, one theme that really stood out was resiliency. So all of you have been faced with really tough challenges and decisions, particularly in the early days of the pandemic, but many of you have rebounded incredibly quickly. So looking at this data here on the left, by Q1 of 2021, nearly 70% of you will be at or exceeding the headcount you were at pre-pandemic, with 35% of you who continue to hire or resumed hiring and are now at a higher headcount than you were in early March. On the revenue front, we wouldn't be real investors if we didn't talk about revenue forecasts, but relative to what you all laid out before March, where you wanted to be by the end of the year, 80% of you will be hitting or exceeding 80% of your pre-pandemic revenue target, which is pretty impressive. And 35% of you will be beating that target. So how have you done this? 3 themes really showed up when we were reviewing the data. Communication was first and foremost. It showed up in about 70% of all the answers in some form or fashion. You all have been focusing on over-communicating and being transparent. Empathy was next. This has been a difficult time, clearly, so you've taken the time to understand your employees' positions. You're not diving right into meetings. You're asking how people are doing. And we saw mandatory mental health days pop up as a few suggestions in the answers. Lastly, organization. Not all being together, we had to be deliberate with our time and explicit with our decisions. Better agenda setting, structure has likely resulted in some of that that bump in productivity that we saw earlier. So one of the biggest challenges we all still face in this new reality is how do you maintain culture and camaraderie? Many of you had some good suggestions here. We listed out a few. I'm not going to read through all of them. Starting over on the left, though, you have golf and dinner is one that I like. Make sure Chris Sugden sees that one. Other suggestions include bringing in business leaders to talk, weekly employee recognition, inviting a customer in to talk about the product, etc. And then one that was interesting that caught our eye is the one here over on the far right. Particularly interesting. They've come to the conclusion that their old culture is a thing of the past, and they need to develop a new culture given the new situation. So while all those suggestions were helpful and good, it's apparent that most, if not all, really don't have the full blueprint on how to address the culture problem. A lot of the answers reflected this struggle, as you can see here. And hopefully our CEO panel and our culture session later with Danielle, Steve, and Adam can provide some insights there. So I know we've ripped through this deck pretty quickly here, but what to take away, frankly, we're all in the same boat. Most, if not all, are feeling and seeing the exact same things. Productivity and collaboration are staying strong for now. But fatigue is setting in. It's been a tough year with tough decisions, but you all have remained resilient. And then lastly here, you're not alone. Edison is here to help in any way we can, and so are your fellow CEOs who have a incredible wealth of knowledge.
Hey, Bobby, thank you so much. I realized we had to go through that very quickly, everyone, but the amount of the responses were great, and Bobby's analysis of it and presentation terrific as well. You will receive this, and I hope that you'll be able to. And Bobby's happy to engage as well as the rest of us. But there were some really important takeaways, as he said. So, Bobby, thank you so much for spending the time. Great job.
Sure.